What is going on, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of an ongoing series where I talk about Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch and thoughts and ideas that I'd like to have presented in the new Animal Crossing. It's almost as if I were making the game. So what would I do if I made Animal Crossing? It's a very interesting question. Part 1, I went over how the game would start and where you would show up. I sort of touched on a couple things about why you would be getting off of a boat instead of off of a train or a taxi cab or anything like that. But I didn't go into detail, so I'll be explaining that in this video. Today's video is part 2. It's all about the map and the name of the game, the name that I would associate to the new Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch. And there's a reason why I would call it what I'm calling it, and I'll kind of go into what details are here. So since it's all about the map, let's take a look at a map real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the game here. I have the game running just so you can kind of see something in the background. I'll probably use it to illustrate a couple of points and everything like that. But one thing I want to show off here real quick is what we have. Who is this? Is that Sterling? I don't know who that is. I think it's Sterling. Anyway, it's not important. Basically, the one thing I wanted to show off is we talked about how you're going to get off the boat. And let's look at a map here. So this is a map of Animal Crossing for, I think everybody's familiar with this map. I see this map at least once a day. Maybe not this exact map, but I see a map very similar to this at least once a day. This is the map for, I'm going to move it down a little bit here. This is the map for Animal Crossing New Leaf and what you would see when you first start the game. Or not when you first start the game, but this is what you see in your town. It's not really a large town. It's not really a small town either. I wouldn't really say it's the perfect size. After a while, I feel like it gets kind of cramped, and there's a lot of things you can put into this town, into this map to make it really pop and really stand out. And there's a lot of details you can put into it too. However, after a while, I start to get a little claustrophobic with all the things going on in this one little area. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to expand that out. And the first thing that I thought about doing was that I would make this map for the Nintendo Switch, since I know the Nintendo Switch is powerful enough to handle it. If we look at games like Breath of the Wild, we know that it's powerful enough to handle a much larger, more detailed map. So the map that I would put into the game would actually be 4 times bigger than the map in Animal Crossing New Leaf. Now, if you look back at Animal Crossing for the GameCube, which is this game right here, and we look back at Animal Crossing for the, I'm sorry, this is City Folk, sorry. If you look back at Animal Crossing for the GameCube, and you look back at Animal Crossing City Folk, which is this game, they're much larger towns. If I can bring up a map on this one, maybe I can kind of show you. I can't remember where the map is in this game because I don't use it very much. I think this might be it. So it's a much larger town. We've got cliffs over here that you can explore and kind of show off. You can go up this way, or over here is the other cliff. You can come down all this path here. But on the sides here, you have walls. And let me go over to one of the walls here. I'll see if I can show off one of those walls. But on the side, you do have walls, and you can't really go beyond this. And even if you go up from a cliff, the wall is still there. You really can't break out of it. So my initial thought on that was that we break these walls down. So I'll explain that in just a second. But I did take an idea, and I took this map for New Leaf, and I made a couple of edits to it to try to make it look like it was it's bigger. Now you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about here in just a second, as far as how simplistic I made the edit. It's not a very creative edit, so we'll have to use our imagination. But I want to plug in my headset real quick before I forget. So if we open this up here, we'll see the map that I'm proposing is going to be in Animal Crossing. So obviously it's a very basic edit. You can kind of see exactly what I did. I basically took the map and I mirrored it 4 times, or 3 times. So we'd have a map that is 4 times bigger than the map in Animal Crossing. So one thing that you'll notice is that there are no cliffs, there are no walls like we see on this side over here, which you can't really see because the image is blocking it. But there are no cliffs, there are no walls. Well, there are cliffs, but there's no walls in this map, in this version of the map. So if we look at this version of the map up here, there's no walls, it's all beach. And I did that on purpose. I did that for a reason, for a couple of reasons actually. Now that's not to say that there won't be cliffs in the game. If we look at the map back on City Folk, the City Folk had cliffs and it had walls, and you're going to be able to do that again in the new game. However, we have to use our imaginations on this because I wasn't able to make a Animal Crossing New Leaf map that had cliffs and kind of show that off. So we'll have to use our imagination. So let's pretend there's some cliffs around here. Let's pretend like there's a cliff way up here, um, and that this is actually a waterfall going down and into the ocean. We have to kind of make that. Uh, we have to use our imaginations there because I'm not able to make a cliff. Um, so when you first step off the boat and you are looking around, walking around your town for the first time, it's actually a much smaller area. So the idea here is that when you first step off the boat, and the reason it's a boat is because obviously it's water and there's really no other way to get to this town or village without getting on a boat. So you end up getting off the boat and you talk to the initial villager who shows you around town, and your town actually is quite small when you first start the game. In fact, your town is actually about this large. That's it. This is all you get. So all of the houses, all the villages, all of the uh, you know, public works projects and things that are in your town actually exist in this one little area right here. That's it. Um, Later on in the game, you're going to be able to purchase more land and actually build things out this way. Uh, as time goes on, you're going to make money and you'll be able to purchase more and more land that you can build on. So, for the initial part of the game, this area is not much bigger than a town in New Leaf. So this is basically all you get. Um, but you are free to explore all of this area. So when you first step off the boat from the dock, the villager character takes you all the way up through this area and introduces you to the town square, and shows you around to the museum, which actually will probably be more like right over here. We've got retail, which will probably end up being more like around right here. Um, your player house can be anywhere in here, um, which I think in this example there's a player house right there, so you could use that if you wanted to. You can build your house anywhere you'd like. You can kind of do whatever you want within the confines of this area. So now I know you're already thinking that if that's all you get when you first start the game, what if I want to build my house out here, but I'm not allowed to when I first start the game? Well, you will have the option of paying money to relocate your house, so that's not going to be an issue. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but you will have that option. The same with every villager house in your town. If there's a villager that's in the way and you really want them to move, but you don't want them to move out, you can issue uh, an offer to that villager to move their house if you want them to. So in the future, if I want this villager to move their house way over here, I can do that, and I can help them choose. Well, I can help them choose, which basically I'll be making them choose where they end up living. So that's kind of what we're talking about as far as the first part of the game. You explore everything within the confines of this little area. Everything else has trees and has shrubbery and has all kinds of things going on. Maybe even some wildlife. I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not. And you can still explore all of this area. You can still cut down trees. You can still plant flowers. But you're not going to be able to put public works projects, and villagers can't put their house in these areas for the initial part of the game until you purchase more of that land. Also, we talked about the cliff being up here. Maybe there's a cliff up here. Maybe the cliff is more down here. Maybe there's going to be cliff-type things spread across your town, kind of like what my character is standing on in the City Folk version behind the, like right here, kind of like this. There's going to be cliffs that you can explore, up to 3 levels. So you'll be able to explore this upper area and then another upper area. And that can be anywhere. And there might be a waterfall trickling down from that area into your town or throughout your town or wherever it is. And that's kind of the map that we're looking at here. Now, this is a much, much bigger map. So the idea comes up of, like, obviously not City Folk, but New Leaf limited you to 10 villagers. This is probably going to allow you to have up to 20 villagers in your town, maybe even more. They may even do something where you could have up to 20 regular villagers, but then you could also have 5 more special characters like Isabelle, Tom Nook, Copper, Booker, things like that. And you could even have like Copper and Booker, um, or any villager assigned to the job of lifeguard on the beach if you happen to own the beach. So I think that's a pretty decent idea. Now this map is actually really good, and one of my viewers on Twitch on Sunday on my Animal Crossing Sunday morning stream, by the way, if you want to catch my stream, it's on Twitch every Sunday morning at 11:30 Eastern. Um, One of my viewers had mentioned that since this map is so large, they may even offer for you to buy like a bicycle or to buy some kind of transportation that you can get from one place to another without having to walk all the way. And I think the idea of walking is really cool because you're going to be able to plant all the trees and plant all the flowers, anything that you want in this whole area. Some of the public works projects might even be a little bit bigger. Um, and I'll talk about another thing I wanted to add to the game a little bit later on in this episode. But there's going to be a lot of room here for a ton of villagers and to be able to move through the terrain. So an idea that I had is that maybe up in this top corner or even in this bottom corner, maybe you wanted to have trees just everywhere around this one house right here. And it could be like a Little Red Riding Hood type scenario where you have to go from your house all the way over to these like to this guided path kind of thing, because you can't put paths in this area, not yet. But you can make a path all the way down and around here. And if you happen to own this land, maybe you've built everything out to own this part of the land, but not quite everything up here yet. This could be like a Little Red Riding Hood type scenario where you have to go through the woods and over the river, and then you get to this house. Maybe it's a villager's house that you've relocated there. You want to have them secluded. Maybe it's someone that you don't like or that you do like, and you want to go visit them off in the distance. There's so much potential for creativity and all kinds of new and unique ideas for this game, just with this one idea alone of having this map so large. That I think that's going to be. I think that even if my idea specifically is not used, I think the Nintendo Switch version will probably have a much much bigger um, area to explore. But I find it. I don't like the idea of having these walls in the way. That's one thing I really wish was not in the game. Is these walls always bugged me. But it'd be really nice to be able to get a path to go up there and actually be able to explore that area, and everything like that. So I think that in the future, that's going to be something that Nintendo's going to explore. They're going to have to explore a much larger map. Even if they don't end up using it, they're going to have to explore a much larger map. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully you guys agree. As always, you can post anything that you agree with or disagree with in the comments below. If you have an idea that might be better than mine, that's okay too, because I think that one thing that's for sure is that we all love Animal Crossing. So, and there's no right answer. These are just ideas that came to me one day, and I thought that I'd pass them along. And then of course there is a right answer. It's Nintendo's answer. So whatever ends up happening with the Nintendo Switch, I think is definitely going to be a game that I'm gonna not stop playing. I'm gonna play it all the time. So I'm very excited to see what Nintendo actually does with the game when they finally decide to talk about something. But that brings me to my next point, is since this is an island, that you're definitely on an island, what are we going to call the game? So there's a couple of ideas that I had. I made up a mock logo of what the game could be called, and I think this would probably fit the game better. Now this island does not necessarily have to be a tropical island. I just got bit by a mosquito. Doesn't have to be a tropical island. It can definitely have snow. It can definitely have elevated areas. It can definitely have water and ice, and it can still be an island that still takes on weather effects and seasons and all that stuff. It can still have those things, but it also could have its own holidays, much like Wild World did, where it kind of did its own thing with holidays. Since would be an island secluded from everything else, you could kind of do whatever you wanted with the holidays. And I didn't want to get into this in this video, but you could even take some of those petitions that you sign and actually turn those in to the mayor's assistant and actually make that a holiday. That'd be kind of cool, depending on what day you turn it in. But that's beyond the point. What I really wanted to get at was what are we going to call this game? Um, and a couple things came to mind. So this is a mock logo that I came up with. I slapped it together in 12 minutes. It's probably something that, excuse me, something that could have um, some that the image is going to be bad, but it's not perfect. It's not the perfect title, but it's something to kind of get your brain, your creative juices flowing there. But this is the title I came up with. It's Animal Crossing Island Living, or Island Lifestyle, or some kind of tropical island, or something along those lines. It doesn't have to be tropical, because again, it's going to have snow still, because you need the seasons in this game. Otherwise, it's not Animal Crossing. But it's kind of just a mock logo I came up with, just because I thought that would fit the theme. The other idea I came up with is that since in my idea for Animal Crossing, it is an island. Maybe after you purchase all of the land, maybe it's possible that you could actually form your own country and be a president rather than just a mayor. Now, it's something I thought about, and I don't like this idea, but it is something that came into my mind, and I wanted to bring it up a little bit just because I thought that it's not a super terrible idea. But I'm not ready for that. I don't want to be a president right now. I don't even know what a president would do in Animal Crossing. But I think that it's kind of an idea that came up, and you can call it like Animal Crossing, like United Nation, or Animal Crossing, um, uh, you know, nations. I don't know. Whatever you think is necessary, and it could work. But I'm not ready to be a president. I'm not ready to take on a whole nation. And I don't think that's really necessary for my enjoyment of Animal Crossing. It really is about the village. It really is about the town, and how you help the town and the townspeople. So that for me would be better, to be just an island that you end up owning or purchasing for the city or for the town, and you still have options of going to like a city kind of a thing. Like maybe this is an island off the coast of a main city. And you can still go there for a city folk type city that you can explore, but that's another story that I'll bring up as an alternate idea later. But one of the reasons I wanted to call it Island Living is because I feel like we have public works projects, and how do you expand on those? I mean, some of those could be a little different. We could even have like attractions, like tourist attractions to get tourists to come into the town, which I can elaborate on that a little bit more on part 3. But public works projects and tourist attractions could be something that we actually end up building as a way to get villagers to visit you and actually eventually get them to move in as well. So I'll elaborate on those ideas a little bit later. There's a lot of mosquitoes out in my game tonight, so it is what it is. But I want to know what you think. If you like this idea, if you think it's a cool idea, if you don't like the idea, that's okay too. Just let me know in the comments below what you think, and respectfully let me know in the comments below what you think and if you like the idea. Obviously, you can post your own ideas, and in a future video, I'm going to be using some of those ideas to kind of talk about what kinds of things would be good. So the question of the day is, what is your #1 thing that you want in Animal Crossing? And I will definitely read all of those comments, and I will put something together for part 4, part 5, something along those lines of what you would love to see in the next Animal Crossing. So once again, folks, my name is Blaze, and I do videos on Animal Crossing every Sunday morning at 11:30 on my Twitch channel, which you can find the link to in the description below. And also, I do videos quite often on my YouTube channel for several different games. So check me out there. Hit me up on Twitter to find updates on when I'll be streaming, and don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also head over to my Twitch and follow me there as well. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, but I want to thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys on the flippity flip.